is now called to order. Mrs. Samak, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Costello?
Here.
Ms. Powers-Dolny?
Here.
Ms. Remington?
Present.
Mr. Tackett?
Here.
Mr. Webster?
Here.
And we'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we need a motion to adopt this evening's agenda.
So moved.
Second?
Any revisions?
I would like the recommendation of the 9.3 LEC work study agreement to be removed and voted on separately from the superintendent's consent agenda.
Okay.
So I would like to make that
That
motion
Okay.
that 9.3 be voted on separately in the superintendent's consent agenda.
Okay.
Who's second? I'm sorry.
Mr. Tackett?
Okay.
So we need the roll for that and then to adopt the revised agenda. Okay, Mrs. Samak?
Mr. Costello?
Yes.
Ms. Remington?
Yes.
Mr. Tackett?
Yes.
Mr. Webster?
Yes.
Ms. Powers-Dolny?
Yes.
I'd like, oh gosh, I can't talk today. I'd now like to make a motion to approve the amended agenda
Okay.
for this evening.
Can we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion?
Ms. Remington?
Yes.
Mr. Tackett?
Yes.
Mr. Webster?
Yes.
Mr. Costello?
Yes.
Ms. Powers-Dolny?
Yes. Okay, item 2, hearing of the public on agenda items. Mr. Webster, did you do your job?
I have not gone to get it yet. Do I need to read the statement?
Mr. Patty, is there, did anyone sign in to speak?
It says the more thing on?
Not to speak.
So I guess not.
No? Okay, thank you. So moving on to item 3, we need a motion. Pardon?
Oh, that's right, I was thanking Mr. Patty for saving me from exercising.
Item 3 is we need a motion to approve the minutes of the July 9th meeting.
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? Mrs. Seaman?
Mr. Tackett?
Yes.
Mr. Webster?
Yes.
Mr. Costello?
Yes.
Ms. Remington?
Yes.
Ms. Powers-Dolny?
Yes. And item 4, presentations, Dr. Engelhardt?
Yeah, so we're pleased to have a couple of special recognitions and presentations this evening, the first of which pertains to our AP Art students. We're fortunate to have AP courses offered at Harvey. Those are advanced placement courses for which students, if they score high enough on the tests that accompany those courses, they can actually earn college credit from them. And we're also very fortunate to be able to offer an AP art class. And this past year, we had some students who did an exceptional job on those AP tests, and we wanted to have the opportunity to recognize them in this forum. So I'll ask if Ms. Timko could come up and say a few words about our AP students.
Hello, everyone. Hello. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Timko. I am the art teacher here at Harvey High School. I have had a wonderful pleasure of teaching my AP studio class this past year, along with everybody else that I've had. Just kind of a quick background on AP. It's a scoring level of 1 through 5, 5 being the best excellent qualification that there is, 1 being the lowest. This year I had 6 students who went out for the portfolio review. With the portfolio review, they have to complete 30 top-notch pieces throughout the year I have them. So concentrations is up to them on whatever they want to choose and to focus in on. Some people have chosen religion, friends and family, food, women and different cultures. So this year I have had 3 of those 6 pass, 2 with 5s and 1 with a 3. So congratulations to them. I know Sam's here, but the other 2 aren't. But I just kind of something simple about each one of them. I'll start with Jordan Mead. She was one that received a 5. With her, I had her for all 4 years of her high school career, 3 of them which were AP. She focused on personality and exemplifying that through her environment. So I do have her pieces out there, so you guys can kind of check them out when you guys are leaving. But she's going to Cleveland State University, and she is studying geology. So again, she was one of them who received a 5. The second one who received a 5, I just saw him come in, Jasmine Maury. She, I've had Jasmine 2 years in AP. She is an amazing student. Not only has she received a 5, but she did study at the Cleveland Institute of Art this past summer for biomedical, right? Biomedical. She has won a scholarship for the Ohio Watercolor Society out of 73 or 74 pieces throughout Lake County. She was picked for that. Art in the Park, she came in first this past weekend, so she's also won that award. And then Lake and Geauga County Art Show. She's also had a couple pieces in and received blue and gold ribbons for those. Her portfolio focused on people in the community. So I sent her out and was like, you need to take pictures of everybody and anybody and get a diverse group. So she did, and her portraiture is absolutely amazing. So very proud to have her. This will be her senior year. So we get 1 more year with her, and then she is going off to the Cleveland Institute of Art. And then Samantha Moore is my senior who graduated this past year. I have had her in class all 4 years of her high school career, 3 of them which have been AP. Her portfolio focused on friends and family, so same idea of her going out, getting pictures, and then recreating them. Most of her pieces were done in drawings. So she received a 3 on her portfolio. All 3 girls did, again, receive a college credit. Samantha is going to be going into the military, looking to be a military police officer. So that is what she is going to be up to once college, or once, when are you leaving? November, maybe? Yeah. So I just want to congratulate them all. I think this was a great opportunity and experience for them, and I am excited for this year coming up with some new AP kids.
And we do have
certificates, yes.
Stay put. We do have certificates of appreciation to present to our students tonight, and the certificates read, in recognition of outstanding effort and excellence in performance in the 2017-18 Ohio AP Studio Art Portfolio Exam, and bringing pride to your school and family as a model of leadership and excellence in the arts. So we'll be awarding these today. So first, if I could bring Samantha up. And we'll bring up Jasmine.
Thanks.
Now, Ms. Timko, Jasmine was also in the Governor's Art Show last year.
That's right. I forgot about that. She was in Governor's. She did win congressional also, so her piece is hanging up at the Congressman's and Menner's office. So that'll be up there for a year. So that'll be coming down in May. So yeah.
Yeah, and we just got her grades from,
There's so much.
uh,
I don't have it.
look, we just got her grades from, where she just went for my medical.
Oh, and she received an A from the Cleveland Institute of Art for 3 credit hours, which will be used, or actually, where are you at? Yeah, 3 credit hours. That will be used so when she goes to the CIA in the fall, there'll just be some extra credits that you didn't have to worry about. So congratulations.
Samantha and Jasmine, again, congratulations.
Thank you.
And then we have another very special presentation, and I will ask Ms. Fife to get us started.
So, want to call her? This presentation is for Solaria Guilford. She received her diploma this summer in reference to graduation. She worked hard, she finished up. We are looking forward to see what she does now in the future. Would like to give you your diploma. Go.
I think one of us says it every time we have presentations like this, how awesome it is. And, you know, the great things that students are doing, whether it's in the arts or whether it's graduating, all of it. It's just, we didn't used to have the recognition like this for students. And while it may not mean much right now, and maybe it does to some of them, but, you know, it's a big deal. So cherish these days. And I think it's great.
I would build on that and say that all of you should be extremely proud, because the one thing it's going to take for you to continue to be successful throughout your life is persistence. And sticking to things the way you've done is laudable, and that's a life skill that you're going to be able to take from now all the way through your career. You're going to have a lot of success. So, way to go.
Usually at this point, we tell our guests that are here tonight getting recognition that if you don't want to stay, the next part of the meeting, well, it's not really exciting.
Jasmine?
You don't have to. Come here for just a minute.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Do you have plans now?
Solaria, yes, what are you going to do now?
I'm going to like.
Good, very good.
We're now.
For now, so good 2-year start.
Thank you.
Thank you, very good. Thank you, guys.
Okay? All right. You got, way to go. Congratulations.
You know, that brings some idea.
Yeah, progressive. Yeah,
Oh,
it's admirable that these corporations do that.
We bring tours through.
Sounds good.
See, what do you say about progressive in art?
We have one of the incredible premier corporate art collections in the country. Yeah,
I
it's,
didn't realize that.
yeah, it's a pretty big deal. We have occasionally tours that come through, adults and other students.
Okay.
But I don't know that I've ever seen a high school tour.
They have a curator.
A couple.
Is that the Mayfield, the
It's
Mayfield
all
location?
of them,
Okay.
all the ones.
Peter Lewis had a little bit of money to buy some
Yeah.
more with. Yeah.
It's
Remember,
a,
like yours, you found graduate.
yeah, it's a big deal.
Okay, item 5, new business. Our next regular meeting is September 10th, 2018. And item 6, our legislative report, Ms.
Well-
Remington said.
I know you're going to be devastated, but
Already
there will be
started.
no legislative report for this evening.
Okay,
I will pick it up in September.
all right, sounds good.
Well, nothing will happen in September because it's on break.
Well, I'll find something.
Okay, item 7, the treasurer's consent agenda. We need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
So, Ms. Samek, would you like to go over these, and then we'll see if there's any discussion?
Sure. The first one, it's a fund transfer. It's kind of an unusual circumstance, but we had made a deposit for 4 kids to attend a summer program last summer at Wright State University, and they never cashed our check. We moved it to unclaimed funds, and then literally, like, once we did that, of course, we found out that they were never gonna cash our check. It was just a refundable deposit. So it belongs back to the Avery grant. So this is, since I transferred it into the unclaimed fund, this is basically undoing my transfer and putting it back to where it originated from. And then the other one is donations that were presented to the district.
We have a very large donation there. Is it okay for us to be taking that kind of donation?
Sure.
From
the Liberty Disco Bar in
Yeah,
town.
Wow.
yeah, what's up with that?
That's Annie Such, isn't it?
Yes,
For those that
yes.
don't know, I mean, she's pretty involved, and this is
Okay,
not uncommon for her.
okay,
Super.
Very generous.
Part of the community.
very generous.
Sounds like
It's only kind of cooperative.
Okay, any discussion on our treasurer consent agenda items? Mrs. Seaman?
Sure. Mr. Webster?
Yes.
Mr. Cassell?
Yes.
Ms. Remington?
Yes.
Mr. Tackett?
Yes.
Ms. Powers Dolly?
Yes. And moving right along.
Okay, 8.1 through 8.5 are the financials for July. So obviously the month-to-date is the same as the year-to-date. Nothing really fancy on those. July's somewhat of a quiet month financially, but it's not for us in the treasurer's department, but activity-wise, there's not a lot going on for the books in July. We're still finishing up this week, putting in the appropriations along with contracts and stuff like that. So there's some chunks in those reports that are kind of still empty, but they'll be filled by the end of this month, so everything will be in line for the end of August, which will be reflected in September's board meeting.
Sherry, do we have to make a motion first before you ask questions?
We don't need to make a
That's
motion.
Could, just curious, what's the State Farm Sin Borders?
It was a grant.
Houston for 67 cents?
It's just a grant that we had previously, and it's just a matter of zeroing out the grant. So the grant wasn't overspent, it was underspent, so every once in a while we'll go through and we'll clean them up.
Just kind of.
Yep.
Line my report, what is that? Yes, okay.
Got a balance, though, huh?
Yep. Keep money.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, item 9, Dr. Engelhardt. Well, first of all, we need a motion here, sorry.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, 9.1, we have our bus stop routes. 9.2 is agreement with Capstone Academy. 9.4 is agreement with Mentor Cares. 9.5 is an agreement with Signature Health. 9.6 is a district data release authorization with LGCA. 9.7 is an MOU with OPSI. 9.8 is the appointment of a delegate to the OSBA annual business meeting. 9.9 is our preschool handbook. 9.10 is our elementary handbook. 9.11 is our heritage handbook. 9.12 is our Harvard handbook.
I have one quick question regarding the bus routes. Last year we were kind of talking about trying to evaluate bus routes, and it kind of got dropped, but I was wondering, were there any changes to the bus routes as far as distances or travel distances or any of that?
In terms
Did it-
of,
I mean, I know in,
You're talking like additions that were previously not on the routes?
I mean, just, I guess, I know we didn't formally adopt any changes to the bylaws, so, I mean, couldn't really be that, any kind of change, but I guess, did any of the discussion that was had last year inform any decisions of this year?
well, certainly we haven't undertaken any changes in policy.
Right.
However, in really kind of analyzing the assignment of routes, we have located some instances that need to be cleaned up. There are some cases of kids who should be transported or not be transported based on cleaning up the boundaries of the assignments of routes. Now, we're not denying anybody transportation this year that would have had it last year. We have to have kind of a transition period to allow those families to adjust. But yes, there will be, based on the addresses and based on the drawing of our boundaries where they should be. And the
When you had the software manufacturer representative, whatever, in
yes.
to help
Yes.
with that process, so it
Right.
wasn't just us.
So we had some auditing, we had some third-party eyes on some of the processes and procedures, and yeah, there are some changes that are in the process of being made. And then, like I said, there does have to be a little, we can't just cut somebody off. So we're really talking about things for next year, but they're being they're identified now. Yeah.
Great, thank you.
And we'd also have new students entering the picture, so that would change.
Sure, that's always gonna fluctuate,
Right.
but where the addresses fall within where the boundaries should be, shouldn't change.
I had a question about the Signature Health Agreement and the agreement we have with Crossroads. Signature Health is providing mental health counseling and care, and Crossroads provides that as well. We are not duplicating services?
Correct. We're not duplicating
Okay,
services.
all right.
Signature Health serves mostly students that are that have emotional and behavior disorders. They do individual, group, and family. Crossroads does a lot of our prevention, and then individual, group, and family for students not on IEPs. There is some overlap depending on the families. It provides more options for families, but they provide a lot of the same service. And we make sure they don't duplicate, and actually they have to make sure they don't duplicate because they get reimbursed by Medicaid, so they have a lot of things in place so that they're not serving the same families or providing the same services.
Okay, good. I just was reading that and had remembered Crossroads and thought, are we,
No, we still have our contract with them as well.
right, thank you.
And since everybody wants to talk, I will volunteer to be the alternate.
Oh.
I missed that word.
The alternate.
Oh, the alternate?
I was going to give Mr. Webster a chance. Do you want to go to the Capitol Conference?
When is it?
It's
November 11th.
November, yeah, it's
11th.
Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday.
Sunday night is a dinner.
Yeah, I
Don't
would go
have to go
Monday
Sunday
and
night.
Tuesday. There's seminars.
They've actually changed it.
No, it
It
does.
actually does start on Sunday
It
now.
Oh, really?
starts on Sunday.
So it's
Yeah.
no longer, like it used to end half day on Wednesday, it ends on Tuesday, and they start sessions at like noon on Sunday. So it's truly Sunday, Monday, Tuesday.
Sure. Has everybody else been before?
Yeah.
I have not, and I was gonna volunteer this year, but I think it makes sense for you to go, because
Oh,
then you can
why
visit
don't
Nate.
you go?
Well, then you can visit your son.
Yeah, why don't you,
Well, boy.
to be honest, I just got promoted at work, I'm starting a new job.
Well,
Thank you.
congratulations.
And I'm a little, it would actually be, if you have not been, and it would be value added. It would be a little easier on me,
And
less
if you
stress.
can make it, then I will go.
Okay.
Is that okay?
That's
I don't
fine.
mean to
No,
weasel
no,
out, but-
no. When they were doing their arm twisting, I thought, well, you can spend some time with me, but,
Yeah, I've seen the kid for 18 years.
I went for 2 years in a row. That was. my
I'll go next year.
contribution to OSBA.
Because I'm new at this.
It's worth going, I mean.
Yeah.
It can be valuable, you can find some interesting stuff.
but those of you that have gone have not typically gone for the whole time.
I did, I don't go.
I went for everything but Wednesday morning.
Okay.
And I didn't get there the evening before,
Okay.
just like a dinner and welcome and all that stuff.
Here's Monday and Tuesday. Good.
Dr. Engelhardt, item 9.6, the LGCA, I'm sorry, LCGA, who are all these other vendors?
Those are all computer-based programs
Okay,
that we use for various, whether it be assessments or instruction,
okay,
that does have to pull out of the student
Okay.
database to make it available to.
okay. It just seemed like there were so many that were gonna have access to student information that was like,
Yeah, it's not a non-typical year.
Okay.
And some of these other things, you know, like Blackboard is our communication
Right.
system. I mean,
Some of them were familiar, yes.
Yeah, so
Most
it's-
of them were familiar,
Yeah.
but. Okay, so our bus routes, is that information normally mailed to parents? As well as the schedules?
Yeah, we mailed it in the past, in an attempt to get things transitioned over to make it available electronically. It just, and with all the transitions, we just didn't, we just
Okay.
weren't able to get it done in a timely manner. So we made our best efforts to direct people to the website where we posted the routes by student number, or to the buildings where we posted them all by student number. And then we've had several people call at the board office. I can't speak to the individual buildings, but we've got several calls to the board office where we were able to have the list there, and we were able to provide that to individuals. We really, in the future, we want to really be strategic about guiding people toward utilizing IC a lot more, because we can manage everything through there. The efforts are just to get people on there. I know that Heidi was at 2 open houses tonight, sitting down with families, getting their accounts set up, getting their apps set up. So, like I said, we really, in the future, throughout this year, we want to be strategic about continuing to funnel people toward that as a resource. I know there will still need to be some backups, but we've been doing still a lot of paper communication that really isn't necessary.
So do we have?
Okay, sorry, Steve, go
No,
ahead.
you-
Some of us have had a concern, I think all of us have had a concern in the past, that all of our families don't have computer access. So that kind of leaves them in a bind.
They also posted it on the buildings, and they sent a message out by phone.
We did get the phone message, yes.
Well, that was gonna be kind of my question. I mean, we should be able to run reports and see who actually has access to an IC
Yes.
account.
That-
And what's our number
That's
look
gonna be
like?
part of
Is
this,
it-
and, yeah.
Are we good? I mean, is it?
Right, and I don't have that information at my fingertips now, but, through a strategic process, that'll be a metric that we monitor over time, see who's there, who's not, how we can do some additional outreach to those folks who aren't, learn about, are there barriers to why those people aren't on, and, before we can completely flip the switch, and really going, rapidly towards paperless communication, we do have to make sure that we do our diligence there.
So
Well,
part of it, sorry, Steve, again, go ahead.
Might not hurt too, I mean, communication standards and guidelines for staff, because I know I see, some teachers do things this way, some do things this way, the placement, the location of comments about grades.
Yep.
You know, if there's some way, if classroom folks are trained to how to use that, especially if you're driving more people towards us, so the messaging is consistent and in the same places. It looks like some of those are canned responses that
Yeah.
go on, but a lot of the free text stuff is.
Yeah, and that's why, at least for a long period of time, it was only canned responses. We didn't want to be too restrictive, so.
Well, I like that, yeah.
And, you know, also Morley Library does have computers there. And, you know, I'm sure Aurora would host something where, you know, families were able to access school information in their computer lab or
Yeah,
something.
we definitely don't want to shut anybody out.
Right.
So be careful about that.
So that message was sent out Friday. Could we do it again tonight, tomorrow? Just in case people didn't get it? I mean, I'd rather them
Yeah.
be annoyed with us
Yeah.
getting free messages
Yeah, that's right.
instead of, okay. So it not being mailed was partly by design.
I can't say that entirely. I mean, it really, in the transition, we
Ran out of time.
we weren't ready to do it right.
And
Okay.
postage is so expensive that unless you can send a bulk, which means you have to get it out far sooner than you probably want to, because there's no guarantee that a bulk mailing will get to a home in good time. It would be nice if we could start driving everyone to the website. Money you save in mailing things could go towards other classroom and educational activities.
Is there an infinite campus mail? Is there? Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't used that.
So that's part of
Went
the
through the
effort,
website.
is, you know, some awareness around that,
Oh,
and
really?
hands-on, you know.
Well, I mean, you know, while many people may not have a computer at home, most people have a smartphone that can do apps.
That's correct.
So, I mean, and at the same, while we certainly don't want people to not have the information, they do have a responsibility to seek it out to some extent. Not totally theirs, not totally ours. I mean, it's a balance, but it's just people still teaching your kids that if you don't know something and you need to know something, go find it, you know? So, anyway, just saying.
Okay, so if the message is sent again tonight and then tomorrow?
I can't make guarantees about
About
getting it out
tonight.
tonight.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
but we'll certainly push it out tomorrow.
Okay.
We probably shouldn't be calling people at
Yeah, it's
midnight.
good.
No, that's a good point. So Steve Costello, did you have something else?
No.
All right then, so we've had quite a bit of discussion on that. Mrs. Seaman?
Mr. Costello?
Yes.
Mrs. Remington?
Yes.
Mr. Tackett?
Yes.
Mr. Webster?
Yes.
Ms. Parsoni?
Yes. Okay, item number 10, personnel.
No. 9.3.
Sorry, 9.3, you're right. The one that we removed from the consent agenda. Okay, we need a motion for 9.3.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. And Ms. Remington?
I abstain.
Okay. So you are abstaining from this?
I am
Okay.
abstaining from it. I do work for the college, so I
Right.
felt it might be viewed as a conflict.
I understand. But you didn't have any concerns about it?
No,
Okay,
no.
all right.
Get our kids over here. I
Right.
think it's great for them.
Now, is there a limit to a number of students that can do this work study?
It would be limited on the college's end.
Okay, because it said they could earn a max of 2,000 apiece. Okay. discussion? All right, Mrs. Seaman?
All right, so I have Ms. Remington.
Abstain.
Okay, Mr. Tackett?
Yes.
Mr. Webster?
Yes.
Mr. Costello?
Yes.
Ms. Powers only?
Yes. Okay, item 10, personnel. Mr. Costello, did we want to
I think it already has, but if it's in a consent agenda, it doesn't need to be removed.
okay,
She's separate.
okay. All right, so we need a motion for item 10, which are the personnel items.
So moved.
Second.
All right, Dr. Engelhardt?
10.1, we have resignations. 10.2, employment. 10.3, change of assignment. 10.4, contract correction. 10.5, salary column change. 10.6, sound lighting technician stipend. 10.7, annual driver certificates for bus drivers. 10.8, leaves. 10.9, stipends. 10.10, extended time. 10.11, tutor list. 10.12, certified substitutes. 10.13, classified substitutes. 10.14, supplemental pupil activity. And 10.15, oh, I'm sorry, that's it.
Okay. Any discussion here? Okay, we have not had much turnover in the way of personnel. But we did talk a couple years ago about exit surveys. Were those done with folks, do you know?
Yeah, we've done it electronically.
Okay,
And in truth, I think that we missed at least one,
okay.
in this last round,
One person or one group?
one person. But yeah, we've conducted that.
Okay.
I don't know that we have enough data to really point us in terms of any patterns or directions, but yeah, we continue.
Do people tend to fill them out, or do they tend to ignore them?
For the most part, they don't.
Because again, there was very little turnover, which I think is a good
Unfortunate.
indication.
Yes.
Yeah,
Very good.
for continuity and everything else for us. Um,
Okay.
Okay, I can't find it now, but I had a question about the girls' basketball coaching position, the individual being part of the bargaining unit for next year.
Based on my update?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so it's, and that, we haven't gotten a resolution on that
Okay.
proposal yet.
All right. Okay.
Got it.
So there was still, it wasn't fully agreed to at the time of the
Correct.
contract.
And that's still where we are.
Okay.
Still working. Okay.
All right, so, Mrs. Seaman, if you could call the roll for items 10-1 through 10-14.
Mr. Tackett?
Yes.
Mr. Webster?
Yes.
Mr. Costello?
Yes.
Ms. Remington?
Yes.
Ms. Powers only?
Yes.
And then we have 10.16.
Correct.
So 10.16 is another supplemental pupil activity.
Okay. Any discussion?
Make a motion to adopt the recommendation.
Okay. Do you have a second?
I'll second.
And no discussion?
Well, I just think this person's spouse is kind of a troublemaker.
Well, we knew that, but, you know.
She does a great job at the band, so. I think it's-
Mrs. Seaman? Mr. Webster?
Yes.
Mr. Cassell?
Abstain?
Ms. Remington?
Yes.
Mr. Tackett?
Yes.
Ms. Powers Dolly?
Yes. Dr. Engelhardt,
Item 11,
we need a motion here, sorry.
So move to adopt the professional visits as presented.
Second?
Okay.
11.1, we have professional visits taken from general fund.
Any questions or comments here?
I'm sorry, who motioned, who second?
I move.
Mr. Tackett?
Have a second.
And Mr.
Okay, thank you, I'm sorry. You guys sound a little like from down here.
Just real quick, the workplace sustainability training that you did?
Yeah, it's.
Or
I
it's,
haven't done it
you
yet.
haven't, right, I was sorry, saw the date below, of the one below. Is that workplace sustainability in terms of like environmental sustainability, or is it staff?
Yes,
Culture.
so that's really
Okay.
kind of pursuant to some of the discussions that we had about taking a look at.
Sure. Terrific, thank you.
Okay, Mrs. Seaman?
Okay, Mr. Webster?
Yes.
Mr. Costello?
Yes.
Ms. Remington?
Yes.
Mr. Tackett?
Yes.
Ms. Powers Dolly?
Yes. Okay, item 12 is hearing of the public on non-agenda items. Mr. Webster, do we have anyone that has signed in?
The Moore family? Well, they were just here, I think they just signed in.
Okay.
It's like a guest book, I think. They just signed the guest book, other than that.
Is it too late to sign in? I didn't know how to sign in.
Oh, sure.
Oh, I don't know, Councilman.
I promise to be nice.
Well, that's no fun.
Well, that would be a first. Be happy. I've known Katie since she was a child.
It's debatable.
A child.
Okay, so hearing of the public on non-agenda items, we need to read the statement.
Do I get to do that?
Sure. If you would like to, that would be fine.
As indicated earlier, the Board of Education provides 2 opportunities for public presentation at each regular meeting. This is the second opportunity to address the board on other topics of interest to you. Participants will be allotted 5 minutes to address the Board of Education. This time may be extended by the President of the Board of Education.
Okay, Mrs. Jenkins?
Okay, hi, my name's Katie Jenkins. I am a Painesville resident. I live at 312 Rockwood Drive. And this year my son will be entering kindergarten at Elm Street Elementary. And I'm hoping by being here, this is an opportunity for improvement and not a complaint. I want to make sure that I'm clear on that. One of the things that I was a little bit disheartened about the process this year is the fact that I have had literally 0 communication leading up to my son's school year. I have been getting text messages and emails, but they're all generally related to already enrolled students who have been established in the process, which then I have to acknowledge incites a little bit of panic for me because this is a new process for me. I regard myself as a pretty educated, pretty savvy individual who has a lot of connections within the community. And so I've been able to get help in the process from individuals that I know. I know teachers at various schools, members of the school board, have been able to give me information. Lori Skidmore at the school board has been absolutely fabulous in giving me that information. But my concern is with the residents who don't have those resources. I had to register my son for kindergarten assessments. I had to call the school board to find out that I had to do that registration and then actually call the school myself to sign him up. I found out about the open house because I called the school board last Monday and said, I've gotten nothing, school starts next Wednesday, what's going on? It was at that point I found out school for him doesn't actually start on Wednesday, it starts next Monday. But this week I have appointments that I needed to get him to be able for him to successfully start school. The school supply list. It is not currently up to date on the website. The only place that I could receive it was if I went to a store to get it. And I didn't even know that I had to go to the store to get it. Again, Lori was wonderful. I contacted her. She sent it to me electronically. But for people in our community who don't have those resources and don't have that knowledge, and they are just now enrolling their kids in our schools, that's concerning. Which is why I'm here tonight. So hopefully that's something in the future that can be fixed, so that it's not a process that's unnerving for our parents. Because, you know, we want our kids to enter the schools happy and healthy, and we want our parents to have a positive experience. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kate.
Quick question on that subject. When, obviously, we can't know who's going to register, so the parent reaching out to register is the first point of contact. What happens at that point with registration? I mean, is there like a packet of information that they're provided with?
Yeah, that would be my expectation, is that all that information about what's next, I mean, because that's really what's important, is what's your next step, would be provided at that time. And I can't speak to where our gaps were this year. It's definitely something that I have to go back and review.
Now, and I haven't looked at our website to see what it says about registering your child yet. We can do that, but, I mean, there needs to be, I would assume, dates for the upcoming year, and they should probably be established by the end of the prior year, and all of that kind of stuff, and who to contact, and just because they need to have, you know, parent needs to have somebody, some direction to go, or they'll just end up calling the district office, and at that point, they can be directed, but, okay.
Do we work with any of the preschools? Did Oliver go to Red Raider Preschool or someplace?
No, you can just mention
Thanks to the council. Oliver was at Red Raider, so he actually registered for kindergarten in March. And at that time, the packet that we received was very precursory. It didn't include dates or any of the appointments that we
Okay,
needed to
all
do.
right.
But at least they had your name and his name and everything at that point.
Absolutely.
So information should have been forthcoming.
Absolutely.
I mean, it would be very concerning as a parent about shots and deadlines and all of that.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. Is there a way we can use Infinite Campus to kind of set up a new student concierge, if you will, to kind of, it seems like you could house that in one click, all the kind of data that you need to have to kind of, you've got a new parent, and you could call the school board and say, I mean, that part has got to, I get that there's got to be a piece that says, you know, my kid's starting to school this year, what do I got to do something. So I call somebody. But then to be easily directed to one point of information, so you're not searching on a website, where with one click you get everything that you need to know, and then, you know, you could share that information with Aurora at the library and
Well,
with other resources internally.
Sure. I mean, in this case, where the person has registered through the preschool well in advance of the upcoming year, are they, you know, I would think it would be possible then to get them into the Infinite Campus system so that they could start receiving those emails, and I don't know if that's what we do or not, but obviously.
I'm gonna have to,
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to audit
Right.
the whole thing. So I apologize if that was
No,
your
it's fine.
experience. I mean, we want to do better than that. And we'll certainly, and I appreciate that perspective.
There is a checklist, though, on Infinite Campus, is there not, for students new students enrolling, but it doesn't address
Yeah, you have
kindergarten?
to be authenticated and signing into Infinite Campus, and if
Sure.
you're new, you probably don't have those credentials, and you're not.
Sure.
Or do you know about Infinite Campus? I mean, if
Could
it's your
be
first
something that's
child in
right
our
on the-
district, you have no clue that we offer that.
Yeah. Maybe it needs to be on the main page of the website as a starting place within, because all this, none of that's private kind of information, and
No.
again, that's your one-click location, but thank you for bringing
Yeah,
this
Ms.
forward.
Jenkins, when I start to get my hands dirty and going back through this, would you mind me contacting you?
Oh, absolutely, feel free.
Yeah, process improvement.
We are in a transition.
I know, I'm familiar.
And things are going smoothly.
Yeah.
Okay, item
Well,
13.
Sorry, I don't want to, I'd rather do it in this section than in the next, but just, I had a quick, it's not a quick question, so I won't say it's a quick question, but I know we've been doing a lot of work at the elementary level in redoing curricula, grading standards, communication standards, all of that. And it's been going very well, and now we're kind of moving up to middle school, basically following the class along. One of the things that I'm interested in, over the summer and the spring, hearing a lot, of course, everybody loves to talk about how bad education is in the United States and whatever. But, one comment I heard actually struck a chord with me. A physicist who teaches out in California, and I can never pronounce his name, but he does a lot of TV shows, a lot of interviews. Michio, starts with a K. Anyway, he's Japanese, or at least Japanese descent. Made a comment about how kids in elementary school are incredible scientists, and they do a lot of great investigation and learning, and they're excited about it, and then middle school happens. And that's apparently the point where science kind of goes out the window for a lot of kids. Now, certainly some kids may just not have an interest in science, but that's not the point he was making. It was that the way our science instruction in middle school is structured is boring, it's not engaging, it's not anything. And I'm wondering if there's some way we can look at, as a part, as we start to develop our updating our curricula, our grading standards, and all of that, that we can look at it a little more broadly as well, and see how we can do more hands-on investigation and project type structure and all those sorts of things, as well as just working on curricula. And I mean, I know like the garden that they do with the Holden leadership group. I mean, those kids love doing stuff like that, and you get out. But we need to. It needs to be more than just a select group of kids. Anyway.
More hands-on.
Well, anytime, a lot of people learn by doing. Not everybody. Yeah, I mean, at least it keeps your attention a lot more. And I know we've already long been getting away from the quote-unquote lecture. I mean, we're not doing that model, but just I would encourage staff to look more deeply at that particular area, because that seems to be, at least from my vantage point, as a not really well-educated person when it comes to curriculum and instruction in that way. That seems to be a critical point, and we've talked about the transitions before from 5th to 6th and 8th to 9th and all that. But anyway, so my public participation piece, thank you.
How much of that's, how much of that's driven though by testing?
Testing.
I mean, it is to a certain extent. I mean, you have your standards and you have your decisions about how to best address those standards. And that's where the art of teaching comes in. And so sometimes it's just a matter of creativity and resources, and so that opportunity is always there.
Strikes me as someone who's never been in a classroom, I would call. I would just think that if you had an engaged classroom that was a little more fun than a little more boring, you might have fewer fewer discipline problems, you might have more participation, you might have better results, and
More
just an
retention.
overall better experience. And it's funny that you bring that up, because over the summer, I was having a conversation with a former science teacher here in the middle school, who left the district and was talking about things that he's doing there that frankly, in the middle school, the stuff he's doing is some of what we were doing in high school. You know, with those hands-on type experiments and some of the what I would consider fun learning, play-based learning for middle schoolers, but it was just a different experience.
Understood.
I can remember when Barbara, principal of Cedar Brook,
Oh, Bertone.
Bertone, created a Cedar Brook City for all her students, and that could easily be transferred to, geez, even high school. But there were different stations, and instead of memorizing fractions, you figured out how much wallpaper you would need to wallpaper a room. You would cook using your measuring and devices. You had to take bills from the electric company and the gas company and your rent and everything, and put those together to figure out how much money you needed, a month to survive. And she had all kinds of very creative ways that kids knew, their parents did, and they were probably involved with painting a room or wallpapering a room or cooking or whatever. And boy, those kids could not wait. It was 3 days, and they could not wait to get there. It was all set up in the gym because they were learning things and figuring them out, and then they go tell their parents, gee, I figured out, how much this and that was. But, I think things that students can see a real life application to. And, we live with science every day and with math every day. And it just seems that things like that, whoa. And light every day. But, yeah, I agree. I'm a big component of pool for geometry.
I'll just add, that's not to say that we don't have those things going on.
And
Right.
I didn't want to imply that we're doing anything bad or negative. I'm just saying there's always room.
Sure, the more we can move in that direction.
Well, I mean, the elementary science fair is an awesome example of, and it's to your point, of that, the younger students, but the participation in that, even from the community and judges, and, it's a big deal.
I think we should do
Okay.
out testing.
Unfortunately, we don't have that.
I know.
Okay, item 13, good things are happening.
2 days till school starts, yay!
Say we're ready. The teachers were in last week. They've been working hard getting ready. All of our staff is in now, working hard getting ready. Most everybody is excited, smiling, and ready to say, I'm not gonna say everyone, because that's probably not entirely truthful, but yeah, good energy, and we're excited to see the kids.
Okay, with Alice training, I was here on Friday, or Thursday from 8 until about 10:20. And the part that I saw was, in my opinion, mostly a refresher course on previous Alice training, but there were a couple things that I thought were really helpful. One was Sergeant Miller had everybody on a prompt get up and run out of the room and run outside the attendance office. And he timed it to see how long it would take and said we were way too slow. He had everybody congregate out in the lunchroom and Mr. Shar was given glasses to wear and headphones, and then he was the target of, one teacher had a volleyball and there were 5 others that had tennis balls, and he was kind of attacked, just to show that, you know, one of the things that they'll tell you is if you have an intruder in the building and people, you know, gang up on it, you're gonna throw them off. And then the third thing that I saw was, and I don't think he was trying to make it a sexist example, but he had 4 women come up onto the stage to show that, you know, people think, oh, women can't do this, and how 4 women together can take down an intruder. So I thought those things were very helpful. Now, did other things happen after that?
Yeah, so
More-
they go through several different scenarios
Okay.
based on where the threat was and what
Okay.
decisions should be made.
Okay,
Yeah, multiple scenarios, and they debrief each one.
okay,
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of value in it.
okay.
And there's been good conversations. We set up a dedicated email address for staff to send questions, follow-up questions to, so we can manage those in a, you know,
Okay.
efficient way. And, you know, when you go through a thorough training like that, it also serves as a drill to a certain extent, and it's led us to consider some, you know, some possible additions or changes in our emergency operations plan. So a lot of benefit, very much worth the time invested. Painesville Police Department did an outstanding job of working with our people.
And I think, I'm sure that there were people there that hadn't been through previous Alice training, so that helps too.
Chief Waterman is extremely impressed with the cooperation from the schools.
Mhm.
He made a point to tell me that when I ran into him a couple days ago. So the cooperation is incredible.
The lunchbox was again very successful?
Yeah, I don't know that we have numbers. If we do, I'm not certain what they are.
Okay. I don't know that they're finalized yet, because the last day was August 2nd, I think. This is not directly related to the schools, but I think it's a reflection on Painesville City Schools. I went to Dancing Under the Stars for the first time this year.
Oh, yeah.
And Mr. Tackett was there, and Mrs. Costello was there. And it was so impressive to see, and you know, the director of Lifeline, for whom this benefit, you know, is done, is a Harvey grad, and she's been the director for quite a while. And the chair this year was a Harvey grad, and the chair a previous year was a Harvey grad. And
Well,
there
she
were
was a
people-
proud Harvey grad.
Yeah.
She said it several times. so
She said it,
really
and it
good.
was in the bio in the program, and she kept saying it. You know, and then at the end, when all the results came out, she emphasized again how proud she was to be a Harvey grad, and that she wouldn't be where she is today if she had not gone to Harvey High School. Because she was one of those kids who would have benefited from Lifeline and family planning, you know, when she was a high school student. But it was also touching to see that the people that won the People's Choice Award was a married couple who are both Harvey grads. And I didn't know any of this before, but I guess you're required to raise $4,000 or something. They raised 12.
And they had quite a cheering section. They had pom-poms and all sorts of stuff. They were well organized. The Sullivans were well organized.
Yeah,
and very-
it was
Very
very, it was
exciting.
very proud.
It was a great event.
Yes, it was.
Well, now that we're hearing the band, I just raise up the, you know, this year again, it's the largest ever, 170 band members, majorettes, dance troupe members, et cetera. It's fantastic. So So basically a quarter of the high school is in band.
Yes, it is.
Or the accessory groups. It's fantastic.
Any others? Teaching up like Karen.
What's that?
Amira's going to be teaching up like Karen.
Yeah.
Okay. This corner's been kind of quiet tonight.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm good. Okay, do we need a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second? You can have it.
I think it's
All
great.
yours.